The first day when we opened the marketing, we received orders from 60 plus countries.
The first day.
We had the demand. We didn't have enough money to produce inventory.
This region imports a lot of fitness brands. It rarely exports them.
Anything and everything that can work here can work globally.
Anam Khalid built one of the few that does. What started in a Dubai apartment became SQUATWOLF, an activewear brand that now ships to more than 120 countries.
What Emirates is to the region, SQUATWOLF wants to be that.
And a bet that a brand born here could beat the ones it grew up competing against.
It's all Western brands with white male founders.
On this episode of Money Moves, we ask Anam, how do you build something from the Gulf that the whole world wants?
If you follow someone, you will always be the number two.
So, first question I have to ask, why SQUATWOLF? Where did that name come from?
So when we were thinking of starting our own business and especially a brand, an apparel brand, and in the fitness industry, and it was the first fitness apparel brand that we were starting from the region, we wanted a name that reflects what we wanted to do with the business. So squat is the most effective exercise that engages most amount of muscles, and wolf is a pack animal, because one of the gaps that we identified was that there was no community for gym goers. There was always a community for runners, for other sports, but there was no community for gym goers, and we wanted to build that community, and we have always focused on community as our number one pillar. So squat, the most effective exercise, and wolf is a pack animal, so squat wolf.
And it's hard to imagine now, 10 years on, that gym communities weren't a thing, because now they're huge, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, how much of a role do you think activewear brands played in making that happen?
So in the region, we were the first ones. There were a lot of other brands that followed us, but the one brand that did it really well and started working with the personal trainers and the micro influencers in the region were us. So we really worked closely with them, and that's the reason why we became the name that we are today, because we worked very closely. Because at the time, nobody was paying attention to the grassroots, these people who are making impact on people's lives, which are the personal trainers and micro influencers who are creating content to teach you how to work out at home, for example.
Yeah,
or
it was new
even
at that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like do proper workout in the gym as well. So we worked with those people because the big names, the big companies, they were not focusing on them. So it was a big gap, and we started working with them. I think in a few years, we were about 400 athletes and influencers within the region. Now it has crossed about 1,000.
So you started off from your apartment in Dubai, and now you ship to 120 plus countries. How did you manage that?
So in the beginning, in the early days, so we both, by the way, don't come from apparel background or fitness background. Fitness, of course, personally, we were into fitness a lot, but we were not working for businesses that are into fitness or into apparel or into fashion. I come from pharmaceutical FMCG background, so I have always worked in big corporations. Waj had always started startups with his friends. And both of us, we had no idea how difficult it could be. That was, I think, a blessing in disguise, because not knowing is also sometimes really helpful. So we jumped into it with our passion, and that was the only currency we had. Other than that, we had a savings of 250,000 dirhams that we invested in the first collection and starting the business licenses and all those logistical arrangements. And yeah, that was the beginning. We were two people. We would eat our dinner and provide customer service, at the same time deliver. When we were going to work in the morning, we would deliver to Aramex Dispatch Center all the orders that we had received. So it was two people team basically in the beginning. But then when COVID hit, when when everyone was thinking now it's the end of the world, and you don't know what will happen.
Gyms have shut down. I mean,
Exactly. Nobody was going to the gyms, and the lockdown here in Dubai was serious. Like, you cannot break
yeah, I
the
remember.
rules.
I was there, yeah.
So, and of course, we started thinking that probably this is the end and we can't go further. But then what we decided to do, we decided to open the marketing to the world. And Waj comes from digital marketing background. He's really good at it. What he did was overnight, he started advertising globally. And the first day when we opened the marketing, we received orders from 60 plus countries.
The first day.
The first night. We did everything, slept, woke up the next morning, 60 plus countries.
So it was just your website that said, hey, where?
The ads, the social media, the UGCs.
And had you placed ads like programmatic wise, you just placed them globally?
Exactly. So we selected the countries where fitness was a big thing and people were still working out and they were allowed to go out, because there were a lot of countries where running and going to the gym was still okay, was still allowed. And we looked at the map, marked all those countries, started advertising in those countries. We worked with the Meta team, of course, and then we activated everything and blew up.
Oh my gosh.
So
And
that's
were you
when,
ready for that? Did you have like the logistics in place?
what helps is Dubai, because we were in the center and connectivity is so easy from here. The flights were still working. Everything was kind of under control. It wasn't as worse as it was in other parts of the world. Dubai was pretty much okay, and the logistics were perfectly fine. So we were able to ship to all those countries without any hiccups.
So, how did you get people to start wearing the brand when nobody knew who you were? Who were your first customers?
So the first customers were the people who believed in the message. So the message was, we are born in Dubai. We are the first ever performance wear brand, gymwear brand that's starting is from this region. And if you get the products, you will be the first people who are wearing the first ever brand that started from this place, from this part of the world, because it has never happened before. And the ambition that we have is to make the brand that started from here a global brand that is competing on a global stage. What Emirates is to the region, SQUATWOLF wants to be that for the fitness apparel industry. So yeah, that's the ambition, and that message really resonated. So the people who got behind the idea was mostly locals, Emiratis, because they felt pride that it's a brand that started from here, from this region. And then yeah, it's snowballed. So from Dubai to Abu Dhabi to Sharjah, and very quickly to Saudi, and then other GCC countries, and then after COVID, globally.
Talk me through the ASCA investment. That was 2023. That was a huge investment for you guys, a big change. Could you walk me through that investment and how it works financially?
So basically, the idea was, it was our Series A. And why we wanted to do it is because we were scaling, and we wanted to have to build an omni-channel business, basically. So Dubai being Dubai, and Middle East as and the GCC as a region, malls play still a huge role in people's lives. They how they shop, their shopping behavior. And people would ask us a lot, where is your store? Like, we were only e-commerce, and then we were, after 2021, we were also available in big multi-brand retail stores like Go Sports and ACOs of the region. But then people would be like, okay, but where can we touch and feel your product? And going into retail, you need cash,
Yeah.
right, to invest into the leases, the fit
Yeah,
out,
the
and the
shelf space,
furniture,
yeah.
and the concept and everything. So that was the main reason. And then we also wanted to hire the best talent that's out there for product, because we stand for quality, and we stand for the right products, the right fabrics, the right innovation for this region, for the weather that we all experience. It's not normal. The other brands, global brands, they don't make products to work in this kind of weather. So anything and everything that can work here can work globally. But it's not, the opposite is not true, because they are much better colder weathers, and then the humidity levels, everything is so different that those products are not made for the specific needs here.
Mm-hmm.
So we built our entire team. We have a very good talent, from head of product to the designers to the product developers to the merchandisers, everyone. So one of the other second reasons for seeking an investment was to build a very strong team for product. And then, of course, our retail stores.
So, coming from background that had nothing to do with apparel, nothing to do with sportswear, what was the most surprising thing that you had to learn about this process, whether it was the product itself or the supply chain? What was the most surprising thing you had to learn? What was the hardest thing you had to learn?
I think one of the hardest things is omni-channel, building a right omni-channel organization, because when you are a direct-to-consumer business, you can be so much closer to the market. You can decide to make a product 3 months in advance, go to the factories, design it, do the sampling, and then produce it and release it within 3 to 4 months. But when you are omni-channel, so omni-channel means you are available in B2B stores. You are available in Go Sports, for example. You are
Wholesale, et cetera.
Intersports, yeah, wholesale business, basically. And then you also have your retail stores. So you have these, the wholesale business specifically is completely opposite to the direct-to-consumer. You have to be so much away from the market. We have to make, our cycle currently is 18 months. So right now, the team is working on spring-summer 28 as we speak today. We are in June 2026, but the team is already working on, and at a given point in time, they are working on 3 to 4 seasons. So it's just the cycle is such, because if you want to cater to different channels, their needs are very different. So sometimes what happens is, for direct to consumer, because it's so close to market, You sometimes miss trends. But then you have a team dedicated that is just looking at what is happening today to close the gaps, for example. So that's why the investment in the right team is so important, because they understand how the industry works. Because these partners, the wholesale partners, are purchasing, they're making the purchases from all the brands at least 8 months in advance. So we just closed a sell-in event 2 days ago for Spring Summer 27. So all the buyers, international buyers, they came, we presented the line to them, they bought into it, and now we are going to then present in November the autumn winter for 27. So it's so much in
Wow.
advance
Yeah.
that you have to, and it's ready. It's presented on models. There was a catwalk and everything. So it's like literally ready to go. All we have to do is now go into bulk production with the orders that we have received. So the most difficult thing was to understand and to adapt and to be ready with the right resources to cater, because the brand was growing really fast. But we had to then adjust and learn and very quickly deliver based on the needs of the different channels.
Is growing too fast sometimes a disadvantage?
We were very conscious about that, actually. It can become a disadvantage, but then we were blessed with a good amount of governance and very good board members who, because sometimes entrepreneurs can be really passionate and can, break things and move really fast.
Yeah.
But then when you have a sounding board and they are helping you to think from different perspectives, it helps. So, for example, when we took the investment, we didn't open our store immediately. We opened it in 2024, actually, because the idea was that we wanted to make a statement and we want to open our first store in the Dubai Mall. And it's not easy to get the location in the Dubai Mall. Exactly. But then we made sure that the organization is ready to run a store, because you're literally making an entire new business unit within the company to be able to be successfully running, that part of the business. So we took our time. We didn't rush into it at all. Whenever we are even talking to big wholesale partners, we make sure that we are ready before we take their orders, because there is a lot of interest, but then we don't want to risk or fail with such an important partner or such an important business unit. So we step back, take our time, think about it, strategize, brainstorm, ask people, how they have done this in the past. And we have very good board members who are coming from the industry who can advise. So yeah, we take our time. We don't rush into it.
Global shipping and manufacturing have been impacted by geopolitical conflict. As a UAE-based brand, how has that affected your business and the decisions that you make?
So far, it hasn't affected. Thank God, touch wood, it hasn't affected us, because when it all started, we already had received the current season we are trading. So we had all the stock available for the next season. We are air shipping, unfortunately,
Oh, wow.
because of the congestions on the port. So it is obviously it's costing us a lot more.
Yeah, how
than
much
it would
more?
have. I think you can say like 10, 12 times more.
Oh my gosh.
It was
10, 12 times more.
It's crazy.
To
It
airship
is.
your yeah.
Exactly. But then what we are trying to do is we are trying to distribute the costs among the partners as well, because not all the other brands are not able to do this, because either they are too big, or for them this region is not priority anymore. For us, this is everything. This is our home. So for us, it is very important that we have the stocks available. Our stores are available with the stocks with the new season, and the partners as well. So we are trying to manage the cost between all of us.
How does the cost get distributed then, those additional costs?
So with the partners, for example, you can say, guys, we are bringing it, and the brand has been performing really well. The region, the conflict hasn't been great for all the businesses, but thank God for us, it's been doing really well. We are hitting our targets. Even the stores have performed really well. We opened a few new stores recently in Kuwait and in Qatar. They're breaking records almost every month. So performing way ahead of targets. So because there is such good traction around the brand, we don't want to lose the momentum. So we are bringing all the stocks, and we are asking our partners to share the costs with us. But of course, we are taking the majority of the hit, because it's our home turf, right? We cannot compromise it at any cost.
What do MENA founders most underestimate about the challenges of building a brand and a business in this region?
I think one of the things for us, we realized it later on, that it is so interesting to be starting a business from Dubai, is because it's a melting pot of cultures. So this place, what it offers you in terms of consumers, that the variety of people, the diversity that it offers. I'll give you one example for us, like fits, product fits, right? Because it's we are in the fitness industry, and the products needs to fit really well to perform. But when you're building a global brand, it is not easy when, for example, if you had started a business in Europe, there is a specific, in Germany, for example, there's a height level, there are preferences that you when you're building a brand for that region or that country, it is very specific to that. But when you're building something in Dubai, you can actually cater to a wider audience.
Yeah.
Because they are all here.
The market is everyone from the whole
Exactly.
world.
So we have athletes. So we build our products testing on real athletes. So we have people from Africa, we have people from Europe, we have people from Asia, we have people, Arabs over here. And Arabs are also from all the different places. Like we have Emiratis in our athlete group, we have Egyptians, we have Lebanese people, we have Moroccans, for example. So there's so many people, and so like when we work on our fits, we are fitting it on so many different people that they are such democratic fits that for us to go international is not difficult, because they work for all those different markets at the same time. So it's really helpful. I think it's something that we need to, as entrepreneurs, take advantage of. And the connectivity also is incredible because it's a hub. All the logistical operations from here to manage, it's so easy. The connectivity is incredible. You can ship anywhere. So we have 2 warehouses. We have one in Dubai, which is a global warehouse. So we ship to 100 plus countries from Dubai. And we have another warehouse in Saudi, because Saudi is a bigger market and we wanted to offer same day deliveries, next day deliveries. So we have another warehouse in Riyadh that only serves Saudi as a market. But Dubai is our international warehouse.
What family and cultural pressure did you face as a married Pakistani woman leaving behind a senior corporate role? How did you navigate that?
So my parents and Wad's parents, they have always believed in us and they have always supported in what we want to do with our lives. So they were all very supportive and they're all super proud that, what we have been able to build as a couple. And it's not common that, you're expats, brown kids coming from a small country, a small town in a country, and you're building something that has never happened from this region, and especially in the fitness industry where it's all Western brands with white male founders, majority of them.
That's a serious ceiling to break.
So it is very, very uncommon. So everyone is really proud of what we have been able to do and what we are trying to achieve.
You've said that you've made every mistake possible over the course of this business journey. What was the most expensive one?
People have been the most expensive mistake. So when you're young and you're building a business which you have no idea how to build. So what happens after COVID, when the business was getting international traction, we thought, okay, how do we unlock the next level of growth for the business? So the first thing that you think of, okay, let's bring people who have been there, done that, who will be able to tell us how to do this. And we made that mistake. We brought very expensive people who were coming from these big names out there, the international global fitness brands.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to make us them. They tried to make SQUATWOLF, for example, Nike or Adi or Puma. And that was something, because it's not that they wanted bad for the business. They wanted good for the business, but they only knew that.
That's what they knew. Yeah.
And they tried to bring and with the good intentions, I'm not saying the intentions were wrong or anything, with the good intentions, but their belief system worked that is the right way to do.
Mm.
Well, now we have learned our way is working for us, because the initial vision that we had when we started the business, we are now back to it after learning very expensive learnings and getting confused for a couple of years, and then moving on and deciding that, okay, no, we have to stick to our path. Everything is falling in place. Everything is like, people are like consumers, feedback, overall the cloud around the brand is just, everything is so good. Everything is so positive because we are embracing our personalities. We are embracing the brand and the values that we have from the beginning. So I think the confidence, sometimes when you lose confidence in yourself and you believe in others and you lose the vision and direction because you think somebody else can save the day. I think that was the biggest learning.
And people can always tell when you're imitating.
Exactly. If you follow someone, you will always be the number two. You will always be behind. It can never work. And thank God that we learned that we need to believe in ourselves and we need to come out and tell our story and very clearly articulate the vision that we have. Because when you're confused, it shows.
Basically, we like to ask our guests for like rules, just guide goes to work by to live by. One rule for a founder, but a numbers-based rule.
Bottom line, number one priority. Sequencing wise, I think it's something that is very easy to fall into the trap of growth. If you have to sequence it, profitability first, prove your model first, and then go after growth, because then growth comes with much more positivity around everything, and then with the investors and with a peace of mind as well, because you've proven the model, it's working, and then you scale. We made this mistake. We grew really fast. We became it was like a random growth because we started advertising globally and all started happening. So sequence, if I had to do it again, I would sequence it otherwise. I would be like, okay, now just focus first and then we grow. So yeah, this is one learning that I can share, that numbers wise, bottom line, profitability has to be the number one priority.
And is there a percentage to that?
I mean, anything. It has to be like healthy, something that won't just disappear if you are focusing on growth. Like it shouldn't be too thin to then when you are focusing on growth, then it's completely gone. So maybe 5 to 10% in the beginning, and then you try and push for growth.
Was there a moment in the early days of the business where you thought, oh my gosh, this is going to fall off a cliff? Like this might not actually succeed, or during COVID or anything like that?
It was first year when we ran out of our initial savings, and we had no idea because we were like very young. I was 26 years old.
Oh my God, that's
Waj
so young.
was 27 years old, and we had no money left, and we had no idea. I had never done this before. So I was like, okay, what do? We don't have money. And the orders kept coming. So it wasn't like the business was suffering. We had the demand. We didn't have enough money to produce inventory. So, and again, I think it's just the God is always really helpful and opens doors. We were really stressed out and we were wondering like, what do we do? I started looking at, how do you pitch? Because there was no startup ecosystem. So there was no investment. Like it wasn't structured. Like I didn't know what are the venture capitalists, like how do you reach out to them? Where are they in this market? Like there was nothing. So I started researching and making the deck and like who we would pitch investors. Like we really need cash to make inventory, basically to sell. And then Disrupt, basically, they came into the picture. They called us randomly. We basically, Waj had started, he was working with them. They were friends. He started tech startups with them in Pakistan. And then because I had moved to Dubai and we were engaged back then, I told him, Dubai is amazing, I'm not coming back. So he had to liquidate his shares and he moved to Dubai and we started SQUATWOLF. And then they randomly one day when we were going through all of the stress of, okay, we don't have cash anymore, they just randomly called and they were like, we see you guys, you're doing something really exciting. We want to be part of it. And we were like, oh my God, that's like amazing. So we have been lucky, by the way, a few times now.
I mean, how much does luck factor into it vis-a-vis everything else?
Huge.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like people hate it like, oh, you got lucky. Don't tell me, I'm working so hard. Hard work and luck go hand in hand in success. You have to be in the right place with the right people around you, with, of course, the opportunities, the doors open by luck. But then how you respond to those opportunities
and
is
how
the
you
hard
keep
work.
them.
Yes. But if the opportunities don't come, then no matter how much hard work you put, it might not happen. There is a lot of luck, definitely.
Well, on that note, that wraps up our conversation. Well, thank you so much, Anam Khalid, for your time. We loved having you here on Money Moves and looking forward to everything that happens next.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. It was a pleasure.